All right, so if you are looking to start a cottage food business, selling food from home, and you live in West Virginia, you're going to want to listen to this podcast because I've got some great news. West Virginia is one of the best states in the country to start a food business. All right, so we're back and we're going to get right into it. As always, welcome to Marketing Food Online. My name is Damien, and I will show you what you will need to do to get your food business up and running in the state of West Virginia. So if you want to operate a food business from home, this year was actually a great year for you guys because of the fact that there was a new handful of law upgrades, I guess you want to say. The law has changed a little bit, and there are some dramatic benefits to the law if you live in West Virginia. And producing food from home, food products, of course, that are non-potentially hazardous. Keep that in mind. That is a key phrase you need to be aware of, non-potentially hazardous. These cannot be time or temperature-sensitive products. So if it happens to need to have refrigeration or stay frozen, if it has a very short window of freshness to it, that is going to be a product you cannot do through cottage food. But with that being said, though, there is a tremendous amount of food products that can definitely be sold from home. So let's jump into it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over really quick. The law, by the way, was SB 285. That was in 2019. It actually removed many of the restrictions that limited the sale of food products through your cottage food law through West Virginia. They kind of lifted that and opened up a huge opportunity, big doors for you guys there to sell in a lot of other places, a lot of different venues. So I'm going to go into the different venues. So we're going to get started. Of course, farmers markets, as always, farmers markets are a great venue to sell through. And of course, selling from home directly, retail stores, restaurants, online events, and roadside stands. The grocery stores, coffee shops, etc., can sell your products. So this does not include like food trucks. So if you got like some type of you're a vendor that's got a mobile food business, that's something that definitely is not applied to this. But selling the grocery stores and coffee shops from your home, that is exciting, really exciting. There is a lot of opportunity when it comes to doing that. And the other great thing, by the way, let me mention really quick, there is no sales limit. You can sell as much as you want from home in the state of West Virginia under this law, and it's amazing. It opens a big financial opportunity as well. If you love making food and you want to get in the food business, doing this is going to add a huge amount of income to your bottom line, if you will, for your business. So definitely think about that. If you want to start part-time, that's the beauty about having a food business from home, is that you don't have to invest a lot of money in to get it started because you can use what you've kind of already got. Right? And the one thing about West Virginia is that you can get this up and running and sell. If you had the ability to sell $1 million, I guess you can do that as well because there is no sales limit. Okay? So now let me get into the other thing really quick. Something that's really important in regards to the licensing and inspections. And then I'll get into the list of foods you can make and a handful of information on the actual labeling as well. But the one thing you're not going to get, the West Virginia does not have any type of state agency that's going to monitor and come in and inspect and all of that. You don't need to do that. Now, what I would recommend you do, though, is you should incorporate as a business, and you should get food producers insurance. Protect yourself, separate yourself, your personal stuff from business. Get yourself separated in the sense that you should create a business. Either if it's an LLC, if it's a C Corp, whatever it may be, incorporate yourself as a food business, okay? That's just a legality that it's not mandatory. It's something I highly recommend, in my opinion, is a good thing. It's a safe thing to keep yourself separated, okay? And get the insurance to protect your product, okay? So let's get right into it. Let's see what we've got as far as the types of products. So it's a pretty relatively long list. And as I mentioned in the opening, when it comes to potentially hazardous food products, you're talking about stuff like, let's say if you're making hamburgers and French fries and you wanted to open a restaurant and sell that type of food, that is something that's not allowed under cottage food law. Okay, you would have to be in a restaurant setting, you have to be in a commercially licensed facility and have the proper licensing and such. Those would be considered. But if you're looking to do like donuts, scones, baked good products, okay, things like cookies or breads or even cakes and biscuits, muffins and tortillas, perfectly fine. If you've got a great imagination, you've got a really unique twist on like chocolates, truffles, or cotton candies, baked goods, if you've got fudge or brittle or something to that effect, that's something that's allowed. And that during the fall, which of course is coming up around the corner, that's a great time to bring out those products and get them even into, like I said, cafes, coffee shops, grocery stores, little mini marts. It goes on and on as far as the opportunity. West Virginia has really they've stepped up tremendously and allowed for a lot of opportunity for small businesses to start from their home. Honey, ketchups, oils, syrups, mustards, vinegars even. Now, keep in mind, pickled products is not something that's allowed. When you're dealing with pH and the potential for bacteria to form, if you don't have the right pH, fermented goods and things like that sort, you cannot do those, okay? So just keep that in mind as well. So dry goods such as coffee beans, herbs, dry vegetables, noodles, you've got tea or coffee, spices and seasonings. These types of things can be done from your home, and you can pretty much sell them wherever you wish to sell them. They've alleviated a lot of that as well, as far as the outlets and venues. Now pastries, again, such as like danishes or cones, pies and such. Now when it comes to pies, stuff like the cheesecakes, and again, keep in mind any ingredient that goes into a pie that has to be refrigerated, that's going to be potentially a hazardous item. That's not allowed. But if you do pies with other items that do not have to have some time or temperature sensitivities, then you're good to go. Okay. Things like caramel corn, of course, like I mentioned, the fall's coming up. If you've got events, festivities, or things around the community or in your area, you can make a killing. You can make a really good amount of money with caramel corns, nuts and seeds, popcorns, granolas, crackers and pretzels, popcorn balls and such. So just a really quick couple of items also that would be prohibited. And when you talk about products that have to be prepared in a certain way, and you got to be really careful, meat jerkies, low acidic like canned foods and stuff like that, you want to kind of stay away from. Acidic foods do not fall under that category, and they could be a product that if it's not done correctly, people can really get sick. So, all right, so now commercial kitchen is prohibited. So you can't necessarily use a commercial kitchen, an inspected commercial kitchen, to prepare the products when you're working with those types of things, okay? And the other thing about the interstate, you can't sell your products in other states. Now, earlier, as I mentioned, you can sell them online, but they have to be sold within the state of West Virginia, okay? So that would mean if you're wanting to do the kind of delivery service and bring that to the customer, you'd have to do it that way. You can't necessarily ship a product from there. You'd have to be in a commercial kitchen setting, and that's not really what we're talking about here. That would be a totally different type of license and permits and such, and that's a whole nother podcast. All right, so what would you have to put on the label? So you produce a food product. You do need to follow some guidelines, though, in regards to labeling, okay, in order to keep the consumer safe and make sure they know where it came from and all that good stuff. So let's go over really quick what exactly goes on the label. Okay, business address. So if you are doing this from home, you will need to have the address of where it's made. You can't use if you create a business and you have a P.O. box of some kind, that's something that's not allowed. It's got to be where you produce the product. The name of the business. The ingredients, okay? Keep in mind that must be listed, as always, from the highest to the lowest. If you're creating a cookie of some kind, if it's flour being used the most and then sugar the second and so on, make sure you have your ingredients listed in that order. Make sure you have a phone number, so if someone were to need to get in touch with you or contact you, if they have an issue with the product, they got to have a number of where it's being produced as well. And the product name. So if it happens to be, sugar cookies or peanut butter cookies, make sure there's a name of the product on the label as well. Okay, so and then you've got the statement. You need to specifically have a statement as well. This statement is something that most cottage food laws within each state pretty much abide by this particular aspect of labeling. But you want to use a statement that lets the consumer know that it's not made in a inspected facility. It's not a commercial inspected facility. It's not any government agency does not come in at any point in time and inspect the place. It's actually done at a home. So a statement to that effect is something you really need to have on there as well. And that pretty much just informs the consumer that, again, it's just not made in a commercial kitchen. So, labeling information, let me get a little deeper onto this. So, on the label affixed to the package, if the homemade food item is packaged, make sure that, of course, it is the sticker itself, the label is stuck to the product, and it is fixed that way, okay? Now, when you're doing, let's say you go to a farmer's market. Let's say you're going to a place where you're setting up a booth. Okay, you need to have, where you've got what they call the point of sale, you need to have a sign up as well. That's something that says homemade food item is neither packaged nor offered for sale from a bulk container. Okay, so that's something that's not being allowed as well. And then if you have like a website as well in which the home food item is offered for sale, like online, okay, your website needs to have the homemade food item is offered for sale on the internet or on a receipt or some type of thing that states the documentation provided to the customer, okay, that it's a homemade food item. So make sure anywhere that you've got some transaction taking place that the consumer knows that it's made from home, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it up really quick. I hope that information gave you a rundown of what you can and can't do. Now, there's a lot more specific information. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some links down in the description. Take a look at the description and click on those links. That will take you directly to the West Virginia website where you'll have an additional bit of information. And I'll put some contact information, some people you can touch base with within West Virginia if you had more questions. But definitely take advantage of it. It seems like a great state to get started with because of the fact that you've got no sales limit and you've got a lot of opportunity with an enormous amount of venues, which most states, I'll be honest with you, I've done this for quite a few years, and many states don't allow you to sell through so many venues. So definitely take advantage of that if you were in West Virginia. And as always, this was helpful. Give me a big thumbs up, and I will see you on our next video. And if you need any additional information, please let us know. Take care.